Welcome back to X3. We'll be kicking off the video today with Blast Hornet, a stage that a lot of people probably selected first when they first played X3. That's because this stage is the first thing the cursor is highlighting whenever you enter stage select, so it kind of makes sense. It also kind of makes sense that this stage feels like it was meant to be played first. Like, this is the stage that eases you into the rest of the game, kind of like Wire Sponge, but it doesn't have a mandatory upgrade like Chill Penguin did. The enemies are not as powerful as you'd expect, considering how many other stages we've played where the enemies were really powerful, and of course we have to start with an elevator segment. Those are just mandatory in X games, I guess. This stage actually changes a little bit depending on when you play it. If you play it right away when you first start the game, it'll have a segment that doesn't actually show up if you play it later on, like I am. But we'll get to that later. First, we have a very simple mini-boss. This mini-boss uses a wireframe sprite, kind of like the sword from X2. In this first phase, it'll bounce over you whenever you shoot at it, so just shoot at it when it's close to you so it bounces over your head, and then rapid fire it as it completes one revolution across the edges of the screen, and then it will go into a bouncing phase. Now, for this one, I usually manage to finish it off by the time it starts this phase, but this time around, I did not rapidly mash the button as much as I normally like to believe I'm capable of. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, considering that we've gone through almost 6 stages and haven't even seen one of these yet, what happened to all of those ride armors from X1 and X2? Well, X3 treats ride armors very differently from X1 and X2. They are now treated as collectibles that you can summon at certain platforms throughout the game, but in order to even be able to do this, you must first find the Chimera armor, which is in Blast Hornet stage, but you need Tunnel Rhino's weapon in order to be able to get it. Just destroy this box, and you'll fall down the chasm and find the Chimera armor waiting for you. Now, once you have this is a very basic ride armor. It works basically like the one in X2 and X1, except it can't hover. But now that you have the Chimera armor, you can find 3 other armors in the game and use those, and they have different attributes to them as well. You know, this is another one of those situations where I think X3 has way too many collectibles, because even if you collect all of the ride armors, when are you ever going to use them? I mean, you can only use them if there's a platform to summon the things. If there is no platform, then collecting them is meaningless. So I don't really know why they made them a collectible, and there's no real reason to use one type of armor over another. It doesn't really make much sense. Also, that seemingly empty section right before the boss door that we just passed through, there would have been another mini-boss there had I played this stage, like, right after the game started. There would have been a plane with a bunch of crates that you have to blow up. It's really just a bunch of crates to blow up. Calling it a mini-boss is very much overselling it. And the reason you would want to fight that thing is because if you blow up all of those crates, it actually causes some enemies to lose certain attacks. I don't really pay attention to which enemies and which attacks change as a result of doing that, so I don't really know much about it. Moving on to Blast Hornet, though, this boss can be a little bit tricky, even though the stage was actually very easy. You don't want to get hit by the wasps or whatever they are there. They're probably just hornets. I mean, honestly, if the boss is a hornet, the minions should be too. You don't want to get hit by the hornets because they will latch onto you and start damaging you over and over again. And dodging this ram attack. This is a ram attack, isn't it? It might be more like an impalement, I guess. But yeah. So at half health, he will change tactics and send out a little purple thing that will cause all of the hornets to start targeting you with much higher accuracy. If you can avoid getting hit by the purple thing, and you are going to get caught eventually, of course. It doesn't do any direct damage, but the more you avoid it, the more time you have before the wasps or hornets or whatever start coming after you. Not the most difficult thing in the world, maybe a little bit more difficult than a beginner might like, because I still ended up with 1 health after all of that. So with Blast Hornet defeated, we have only 2 stages left. One of them has to have Bite in it, and the other has to have a special stage, or at least I have to go to a special stage for my plan to work out later. So we're going to deal with a special stage first. The entrance to this special stage that I keep talking about is hidden in, I think, 3 stages. One of them is Volt Catfish, which I just selected. The others are Crushed Crawfish and I think Gravity Beetle. I'm not 100% certain. But to get to the entrance in Volt Catfish, it's very close to the start. Just go down that elevator and there's the weird teleporting capsule that sends you to the special factory stage. And it's nothing but basic enemies for the first part of it. This is all the same no matter which stage you entered it from. The stage itself is the same no matter where you enter it from, actually. But there's a reason you want to come here. Whatever you do in the special stage alters one of the fortress levels, so I will talk more about that after I introduce the special boss of this area, which is coming right up here. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves for the epic return of one of Mega Man's most heinous villains. It's Vile. Yeah. I mean, you probably recognized him the instant he appeared in that cutscene, but yeah. He's got his own right armor. And it's the worst right armor ever. It's worse than your own right armor. All it does is let him dash towards the wall and punch something. That is all he does. He doesn't shoot anything from that shoulder-mounted cannon of his. He just punches with the right armor like he's accomplishing something. You just have to repeat this pattern over and over again until his life bar hits 0. Of course, that is not all there is to this fight. There is actually a second phase. If you are really good, you can actually jump over the punch over and over again, and he will never move from his initial position, but that's only if you're really, really good at timing. I'm going to switch to his weakness, which is the Wraith Splasher. Now, there's a fine art to dodging Vile's attacks here. What you want to do is dash over that little pillar of fire before it hits the ground. Just dash under him and get over that pillar of fire, because it's very difficult to dodge if you stay on the wall, because it will go up the wall. Wraith Splasher is his weakness, and like with Bit and Bite, if you use Vile's weakness to finish him off, he will die permanently and never show up in the game again. This is important for a number of reasons. It alters a later fortress stage, and it enables an Easter egg later on. Well, I call it an Easter egg, but it's actually an overpowered weapon. You know how X1 had the Hadouken and X2 had the Shoryuken? Well, there's no Tatsumaki Seppuken, unfortunately. But there is a sort of Easter egg weapon that is really, really powerful, and it's only available if you finish off Vile in his special stage. Now, he kind of set off a bomb that is going to demolish the entire factory and us along with it unless we get out of here in 50 seconds. So we gotta move it. He went all Metroid on us just now. And there's even a free 1-up in case we fail this section. Oh, and hey, this enemy actually does something relevant by stalling us for a little bit. A shame there's no more enemies to attempt to stall us at the same time, but hey, I don't mind it too much. You can actually do something with that elevator if you use the charged gravity well, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it'll go all the way up the screen really, really quickly and prevent you from getting hit by the falling debris. I don't really remember for sure, but it's worth trying out if you have the time. Alright, so we've managed to escape the factory with 11 seconds to spare. That is actually a rather tight time limit in my opinion. And we're back at the beginning of Volt Catfish's stage, so now I get to talk about this stage in particular, and how I'm really bad at avoiding that green enemy for some reason. It's mostly elevators. I really should be climbing up the wall at this point, maybe just blow through that enemy so I can get the health power-up. This stage is actually very kind to you with health power-ups at the beginning, because there were 2 free large energy capsules if you blast through the enemy to get there. Or maybe they're for players like me who make horrible mistakes over and over again in gameplay. I have nothing to say for myself. That was just awful. At least I haven't lost a life yet. That would have been really awful. I would have had to start the recording all over again, and etc, etc. So just ride that platform up the spiked cylinder, and you will come to the heart tank of the stage, which you can grab fairly easily. It's not that difficult to grab it and then jump away from the spikes. Might be tricky to fall into the passageway at the right time though, because if you make a mistake there, you're going to impale yourself on the spikes again. So yeah, I have to be really careful because of how low on health I am, but fortunately the body armor is coming up right here. If you climb up here, you will come to this platform, and like with the elevator in Vile's factory, you can use the charged gravity well on this thing to make it go upwards. Really, really slowly. So yeah, there's the body armor capsule. And this one, in X3, they made it emit a kind of barrier whenever you get hit. I don't actually know if it reduces damage or anything, but, you know, body armor, reduced damage, you've effectively got a doubled health bar, it's worth it to me. Unfortunately, we won't be getting the head upgrade. I suppose there's no problem with that. The head just displays a map at the beginning of every stage showing you where all the items are. Useful, I suppose, because some of these items are really tucked away in hidden corners, like with X2. I mean, who would have figured out where to find the Chimera armor if, like, guides and stuff hadn't pointed it out? Like, they would have had to know that those boxes could be destroyed by Tunnel Rhino's weapon. Oh well. Anyways, Bite hasn't shown up in this stage, thank goodness. I don't want to have to do too much in one level. So he'll be showing up in Crushed Crawfish's stage, and I can't say that name, Crushed Crawfish. Crushed Crawfish. Now I can say it, apparently. Here's one of those ride armor platforms. We will summon the Chimera armor because it is needed to get to the sub-tank for this level, and it's got some large energy capsules conveniently placed right next to it. Yes, you have to drop onto the floor there with the Chimera armor. Who would have figured that out? That is so weird. Anyways, that's unfortunately all the use we're going to be getting out of that armor, because you can't exactly wall climb with it, so you can't jump up and continue with the level. And this wall would have stopped the Chimera armor anyways. What was even the point of including ride armor there? You don't really get to use it for anything. That's my problem with X3's ride armor system. Like, at least put in segments where you would have to make a strategic choice about which armor to use if you had collected any. And it's still situational because they have to let you use the armor to begin with. Anyways, enough of my complaining. I'm just dashing through the stage, and we are up to the boss. Volt Catfish can be a very time-consuming boss. This is mostly due to his desperation move, which takes a long time, and he's invincible for the duration. So, anyways, what he does first is bounce forward and fire some projectiles, and he will shoot this thunder at the wall, climb up on the wall to avoid that, and then dash over it. Or you can dash over it when he's just firing it, because it won't be as high vertically, and you can probably get over it with a jump. So, yeah, this is the desperation move I was talking about. At half health, he will just start doing this over and over and over again. He always ends it by dashing into the wall, so just climb up onto the wall, wait for all of these projectiles to go by. There's really no way to hit him from here? I don't know. Well, just dash over him when he charges into the wall. Hey, look, another ramming attack. Isn't that fantastic? And then you can hit him once before he repeats the entire thing again. Is he really going to repeat this over and over? I know I have kind of bad luck with bosses repeating their desperation moves over and over, because it's happened to be quite often. Just having them repeat the same time-consuming move over and over, and I really should have switched to his weakness by this point. I would be surprised if I didn't actually have it, because we're already 6 bosses in. And now 7, because Volt Catfish is destroyed, and we can finally move on to the final of the 8 main stages. And it'll be really nice. Oh, I should mention that despite me not using it that often in this playthrough, Volt Catfish has a really great weapon you can get from him. The Thunder Triad, as it's called. It erects a kind of electrical shield around you. Kind of like a shield weapon from the classic games, but not exactly. Anyways, crashing into enemies with it is really, really effective, and I recommend using it a lot if you're a first-timer. Anyways, we are in Crushed Crawfish's stage, which has a fairly decent song, made even better by the PlayStation remix. And hey, we can finally put that armor to good use by activating the Chimera armor immediately, and then moving on with the stage. And for some reason, as soon as you enter this area, there's a little cutscene, and X gets turned around for some strange reason. That enemy crashes through the floor, and we can punch through the wall on the right here to get a heart tank. Only possible with the Chimera armor. And don't ditch it just yet, because you can actually drop down here and punch through another block to get to, what's this? A pink capsule? Right, I haven't explained this yet. So, in addition to the 4 blue armor capsules, there are 4 pink capsules which will enhance one of your armored parts. In this case, that's the body armor. It will further reduce damage now that I have it. However, you are only allowed to take 1 of the 4 pink capsules per playthrough, so I cannot get any of the other pink capsules, and that is totally alright with me. I don't really need the other ones. But, if you elect to take none of the pink capsules, you can actually get a gold capsule, which will give you all of the effects of the pink capsules at once. But that's only if you 100% collect all the sub-tanks, heart tanks, and everything. Kind of like the Shoryuken, but it's not nearly worth the time and effort. Oh, right, we're fighting Bite now. Bite is incredibly annoying. That little mine that he shoots at the wall, that actually pushes you away from the wall, so you've got to be really careful if you're not clinging to the wall. Because if he catches you with that ramming attack... Oh, geez, another ramming attack, really? Well, it's not really a ramming attack because he actually just punches you like that. That's an incredibly annoying attack. I have no idea why they put that into the game. But as soon as you've gotten into the groove of when to jump, when to dodge, it's pretty easy to defeat him. You can afford a couple of mistakes fighting Bite. And of course, I finish him off with a Buster and not his weakness because I don't want him to die and make the boss of the first fortress stage that much harder. Which wouldn't be that much harder because I let Bit live anyways, and you need both of them to die in order to change the boss. So, yeah, it didn't really matter what I did with Bite there, but that's fine. Moving on with Crushed Crawfish's stage, though, we have... What do we have? Oh, we have a jump that you absolutely must use a dash to get over with. I don't really know why I felt like pointing that out. These are some simple enemies to avoid. You have to destroy that one to get down into the... whatever this is. It looks like a giant battleship to me. There are 2 extra lives there. I wonder how you're supposed to get those. Anyways, it's mini-boss time, I guess. Why else would that door be there? Oh. Well. That was the easiest mini-boss in the history of Forever, and now everything's sideways. What's going on? Did we end up in a Super Metroid hack? There's a Super Metroid hack that makes everything sideways. That's what I was referring to. Very weird, but I suppose we did blow up their ship and cause it to... Wait, the boss room is sideways too? Yeah, I'm officially lost. Let's just move on. I don't know why I was dashing like that. Crushed Crawfish is one of the easier bosses in X3. He's got a nice and simple pattern, easy to avoid, easy breather to cap off the main 8 stages. Just watch out for that claw, because if you're caught with it, then he's gonna chew you up for a little bit. Those little orange projectiles do nothing but cause you to drop to the floor, and I have no idea why they're even there if they don't do damage. I suppose they hold you in place for his... Oh, he backdashed. Is that normal? Never seen him backdash. He did it again. I guess it is normal. Alright, so I'm out of things to talk about. That's his desperation move? Wow, okay, so Crushed Crawfish's desperation move is to move backwards. I don't really know what to make of that, but okay. So that's all of the 8 main stages dealt with. Now it's time to move on to the fortress levels after a brief cutscene with everyone's favorite non-character, Dr. Kane. So, what do you have for us, Doctor? Oh, so you took the boss's memory chips and actually discerned the location of the fortress from that. Wow, I am surprised the main 8 bosses actually have plot relevance now. Yeah, whatever, I'm just filling dead air. Well, next time we take on the fortress levels, find a couple Easter eggs, and check in with our old pal Zero as we put an end to the latest crisis yet again. See you later for that, everybody.